But we've started a sermon series a couple of weeks ago called Into the Wild. And I had Fanika up here with me, Pastor Fanika up here with me the first week in November. And she read a scripture that I didn't get to dig into the way that I really want to dig into it. We started sharing our story, and there was so much that we needed to give you all on that Sunday. I said, I just want to spin the block because I want to set the framework for these next 4 weeks, at least these next 4 weeks, for what I'm going to be saying. So I want to go back to Exodus 3 really quick. Exodus 3, verse 17. And I'm trying to use like my calm speaking voice because my voice literally just came back. And I feel like if I start flipping on the stage, which I probably still am going to, I'm going to lose it really quick. Here it is, Exodus 3:17. When Pharaoh finally let the people go. Now, y'all, and I'm going to try not to like stop and preach every part of this, but I want you to understand that every Pharaoh in your life sooner or later has got to release you. Like, I don't know who has felt like you have been under the power, under the grip, under the hand of something that felt like it was bigger than you. But even this Sunday, I command every spirit like Pharaoh to let you go. For some of you, it may be your memories. Some of you, it may be your yesterday. For some of you, it may be stuff that you're in right now that's just toxic but seems inescapable. But in Jesus' name, I declare every Pharaoh-like spirit that's tried to choke out destiny and prosperity and hope and try to rob you of your future and try to make you think that your life was going to end the same way it's been the last 3 or 4 years. I want to declare real quick that every Pharaoh must release you. You belong to the Most High God, and Pharaoh does not have power or authority to keep you in bondage any longer. I'm trying not to cook it up just yet, but I just want to declare to every Pharaoh that's tried to keep you under their thumb and try to make you subject to what you've only known, that Pharaoh must release you now in Jesus' name. Because you gotta go up. I need you to tell a neighbor, I gotta go up, I gotta go up, I gotta go up, and I can't go up and be bound at the same time. Pharaoh's gotta release me. Loose here and let me go. Loose me and let me go. So when Pharaoh finally, everybody shout finally. Because some of y'all's story is it's been a long time coming, but congratulations, it's here right now. I got to get past this first scripture, but for some of y'all, this has been a long time coming. But my word for you is congratulations, you're here now. And Pharaoh does not have the power or the ability to stay lodged in your memory another day. The Lord has brought you out. No, guys. I didn't say he's bringing you out. I want y'all to hear me. The Lord has already brought you out. This ain't even in process anymore. The Lord has already snatched you out of it. So when Pharaoh finally let the people go, some of y'all need to put a name on your Pharaoh. I'm telling you, I'm really trying. I got a whole lot to say to y'all in a little bit of time. But some of y'all need to go ahead and put a name on your Pharaoh. When poverty finally let me go. When loneliness finally let me go. When depression finally let me go. When suicidal ideations finally let me go. I need you to name that thing real quick. Whatever it is, your finally has arrived. I'm trying to move, y'all, but whatever it is, you have made it to finally. Your finally is here. when finally let the people go, God did not lead them along the main road that runs through Philistine territory, even though that was the shortest route to the promised land. God said, if the people are faced with a battle, they might change their minds and return to Egypt. So God led them in a roundabout way through the wilderness toward the Red Sea. Now, I just want to talk to maybe 100 of y'all online and in this room that feels like for the last 18 months you've just been going in circles. You know, is there anyone in the room, right, that just feels like, I just feel like I'm just walking around and I'm existing, but I don't know where life is going. I'm moving, but I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what this is supposed to look like, but I feel like I'm going in just in circles. Sometimes the way that God gets the best result out of you is not taking you directly to what he promised you. And we're just going to put some definition around this today. There are moments where God will take you the long way. I don't want to get too far into the message, but there are moments where he'll take you the long way, all right? Through the wilderness towards the Red Sea. Thus the Israelites left Egypt like an army ready for battle. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for Joseph had made the sons of Israel swear to do this. He said, God will certainly come to help you. And when he does, you must take my bones with you from this place. The Israelites left Succoth and camped at Etham on the edge of the wilderness. The Lord went ahead of them. Man, y'all. I just need y'all to like really grab this. You don't know where you're going, but God has already gone ahead. I don't have to know every twist and every turn if God has gone ahead of me. I don't have to know what's coming tomorrow as long as God has gone ahead of me. I don't have to understand even what's happening today. My blessed confirmation is God is with me, and he's also, everybody said he's gone ahead of me. He's gone ahead of me, all right? The Lord went ahead of them. He guided them during the day with a pillar of cloud, and he provided light at night with a pillar of fire. This allowed them to travel by day or by night. And the Lord did not remove the pillar of cloud or pillar of fire from its place in front of the people. For just a few moments, I'm going to just be with you all, and we're just going to talk about redefining the wilderness. Right? Redefining the wilderness. Because for many of us, and just even the way that we've been taught, the way that we've grown into this thing, the wilderness has always seemed like a bad place because it's full of uncertainty. And because I don't understand what's happening, and because I don't know what's going to happen next, or I don't know what the next move is going to be, we've been taught to fear, and I'm going to go this far, to try to speed through wilderness seasons. The truth is, you will not have the level of appreciation for your promise without the preparation of a wilderness. I'm going to take it a step further. Egypt does not qualify you for the promised land. What qualifies you for the promise is the way you manage your wilderness. There was a whole generation that knew that God was carrying them to the promised land that didn't even make it in because they didn't know how to manage their wilderness season. What I want you to understand today is this. If you manage your wilderness well, there is a promise, but there's something God's trying to do in you before he gets you to it, right? So sometimes what feels like he's taken me in circles is really him detoxing me from what I've been dependent on before I got to the next thing. God wants to get Egypt out of you so you don't carry Egypt into your next. As a matter of fact, God wants to detoxify you from everything you needed prior to his arrival so that when he gets you to the place he's called and destined you for, you're not looking back over your shoulder saying nana nana boo boo at anything. You're just grateful that you have finally arrived in the place that the Lord promised and that he destined. And you can look around and say, look what the Lord has done. Pharaoh didn't do this. Moses did not do this. My auntie and uncle and them, they did not do this. This was the hand of the Lord. But you've got to give your wilderness new definition. And over the next 30 minutes, I'm hoping that I help you arrive at a place where you stop cursing your wilderness. How many of y'all are in a wilderness season right now? Like you're in between. I'll say it like this. We call it in between blessings. You know what I mean? Like we're not in the blessed place. We've been blessed before, but we're in the middle. We know God's taking us somewhere, but we just, how many of y'all know what it's like to live in the middle? How many of y'all have spent more time in the middle than you ever wanted to? How many of y'all have told God, I feel lukewarm right here in the middle, like, Lord, warm me up again. Get me to the place you called me to. It all comes down to the way that we redefine our wilderness. And y'all take a deep breath. This is going to be an uppercut to a few, but I want you to hear me. God is not going to give you a soft life. He's going to give you a surrendered one. And I think for most of us, the idea that God wants to bless you with a soft life that is not submitted and surrendered, completely, it's a smack in the face to the Gospels as a whole. You mean to tell me this Paul would be willing to be crucified on a cross upside down so you could have a soft life? No. Everybody shout a surrendered life. I want my life to be everybody shout surrendered life. Because here's the difference between soft and surrendered. Soft means I just want it easy. Surrendered means, God, if you give it to me easy, I'll take it like that. But if you give it to me difficult, I've learned how to take it like that too. I've learned whatsoever state I'm in, I'll be content right there. But God wants, everybody shout surrender. You want surrendered life. And all that has to do with redefining your wilderness. Here it is. Point one. I'm going to give y'all 3 things. Number 1 is this. Delay does not equal detour. Okay? Delay and detour are not the same. They're nowhere close to the same. And I want to give it to you by way of story. I consider myself to be a guru in training of learning these Atlanta streets. I don't think you ever really learn them, but I consider myself to be a guru in training. How many of y'all still use GPS around Atlanta? How many of y'all been living in and around Atlanta all your life and you still use GPS? All right. So I consider myself to be a guru in training. 6 years in, I feel like I got a lot under my belt, especially on the north side of the city where we reside, right? So we were leaving London's volleyball game. This was actually this season. And Fanika and I drove separately because I was at work, then I drove to the game. And so we're leaving after the game, and Fanika's following me. I turn on my Apple Maps, which is one of the typical things I do just to be sure, just to check myself. But you know what? Then I cut it off. I'm like, I know the way. I've been here before. I know how to get home. You know what I mean? So Fanika followed me. I'm going to be a G. I don't need a map. I got this. We get to a stoplight, and I make a left because that's the way to go home. Fanika makes a right. So right there, I already say to myself, she's lost. She's lost because I was leading the way, and I made a left, and she made a decision to go in the other direction. So I didn't call her because now at this point, you want to race me. Yeah. Make no shadow of doubt about it. The competitive nature that resides in me, what you just communicated to me is we in a race, all right? You're going to go that way, I'm going to go that way, and we're going to see who get home first. bet, say less, right? I know the way I turned, I'm 1.5 miles from 400. And all y'all that know Atlanta, y'all know 400 is the stretch to go all the way up to, all the way into Alpharetta, right? I'm 1.5 miles from 400. She go right. I'm like, I don't even know what go right. I don't know what she doing, but that's her and the kids. It ain't even me. I'm going to be home in the bed relaxing before they even get there. Y'all, I get to the interstate so fast, I'm literally laughing in my head. I start find my iPhone to see how far off track they are, just being, I don't message her though, because I'm real quiet. I'm competing with myself. I'm going to wait to talk noise and when I win. I don't want to talk it in the middle of it, right? So I'm checking, find my iPhone. Y'all, I'm blazing up 400 until I get to exit 8. Y'all, I get to exit 8. And you would think an 18-wheeler had turned over in the middle of the road. I mean, as far as I can see, it's just cars. No accidents. No. There's no wrecks. There's just traffic. There's absolutely, nobody is hurt. No one is injured. Cars are just piled up everywhere. It takes me 20 minutes to get from exit 8 to exit 11. And I get off on exit 11. Y'all know what I see? More cars. I mean, cars lined up everywhere. I'm like, why y'all ain't home yet? That was the first thing I thought. Like, why are y'all still out? I checked my map, and y'all, Alphanica was 5 minutes from home. Y'all, I got home 20 plus minutes later. She cooking dinner, smile. Did you stop somewhere? I mean, I'm cutting my eyes like, did you stop somewhere? Because by that point, she know we've been in a race. She won. She tried to get dinner on real quick, try to make sure it was done before I walked in the door. She's like, did you stop somewhere? No, I didn't stop nowhere. I went the way that I knew. I got caught in a delay. Fanika turned on Waze. Waze put her in a detour. I'm trying not to flip on the stage. Here's what I found out. Delays happen when I try to go the way I know. Detours happen when God sees what's coming ahead and he takes me around it. I don't know about anybody else in the room, but what you probably should shout for ending 2023 is that God took you around some stuff. It seemed like it was the longer way. It seemed like it was the harder way. It seemed like it took you more time to get there. But God made sure you didn't have to get delayed because he took you the detour. He took you. Everybody say he's taking me the long way. And here is why he's doing it. He knows what's ahead that you can't handle. God has already seen what's in front of you that you're not ready for yet. There's some fights he'll detour you around because if you find yourself fighting it, you're going to go back to what you knew and not stick with who you know. So what God will do is by divine alignment, allow you to get around, to move around some stuff that would have tried to take you out had you went that way. What God did, he did not delay their journey. He just detoured it. Part of the detour is called detox. Everybody shout detox. Because God does not want you to get to your promise still holding on to your bondage. And for many of us, it's taken time for us to get out of our system the way that we've known, the way that we knew, and what happened to us. How many of you all, let's just be honest, how many of y'all still have things in life right now that will trigger you real quick? Like something can happen and it will take you back 30 plus years. It'll take you back 20 plus years. Like you'll hear a sound, right? Yesterday we were driving in the car. Fanika and I went to eat dinner. Then she wanted to go Christmas shopping, which again I thought was just blasphemous, but we went Christmas shopping. Fanika put Kelly Price on. Fanika started saying, "How did you get here?" I mean, with all her soul in the car. And I'm looking over, and I realize she's flashed back to her college days. She is in the 90s. She's not even singing to me. She's not with me right now. I'm just happen to be her Uber driver at the moment. She has transported herself 20 years back to college, right? It's very possible to find yourself still living out old experiences in new seasons. So the reason why God will take you the long way is because he doesn't want you to get your hands on what he said and you still be holding on to what he made you leave. I feel like I need to say this in the room. I don't want you to live in survivor's remorse another day of your life. I don't want you to live in remorse for what God brought you out of. I want you to celebrate the fact that God's got to be taking me to something else, right? So you can't hold yesterday's wins and tomorrow's promise. Because it's not just the good, bad stuff that God will make you leave. Sometimes he'll make you leave the good stuff too. Because it's very possible you can build your entire identity around how you won yesterday. And God's been trying to reframe who he's called you to be and give you something new and something fresh and something stronger and something more efficient and something that's got sure foundation. But as long as you're holding here, you can never grasp here. Are y'all with me? All right, so take the detour. Don't be afraid when God takes you the long way. As a matter of fact, let me say it like this. When you see other people walking into their promise, don't ask God when it's my time. I'm going to give you a principle. This redefines your wilderness. When you see other people walking into their promise before you, begin to rejoice with those that got it before you did. It gives new definition to your wilderness, because if not, you'll begin to envy in your wilderness other people's progress and try to get to yours prematurely. What I'm just declaring over you is you're not going to get to anything too soon. Everything you get, you're going to, everybody shout, right on time. Matter of fact, I'm going to say this too. You ain't going to force another thing to happen. You ain't going to force yourself through another door. You're not going to force yourself to another opportunity. You're not going to force somebody to see you for what you're worth. God is going to put you in the right places, the right position, and in the fullness of, y'all, I'm trying not to get too excited, but everybody shout, in the fullness of time, everything that I need is going to become a reality, and if I force it, I got to hold it up myself. But if God gets me in, he's going to keep me there all the while. So no, detours are okay, delays are not. Look at one neighbor real quick and say, get out your own way. So they probably mad at you. Look at the other one. Let's just make everybody mad. Say, hey, not hey. Take the H off of it. This is A-Y. Say, hey. Get out your way. Because a lot of times we blame the devil for delays. And the delay is not demonic. It's self-imposed. You slowing your own self down. It's time for you to get out your way. If God told you to do it, why are you still waiting on their validation in order to make it happen? It's called a delay. If God told you to write it, why are you waiting for them to find you before you put pen to paper? Everybody shout, it's time to do it. It's just time to do it, all right? No more delays, all right? Delays and detours are not the same. We will take a detour. What we will not take in this season of what God called us to do is any more delays. Everybody just shout it with me, no more delays. Number two, here's the second point. What can't kill you will reveal you. What can't kill you will reveal you. Y'all ready? All right. It's real simple. There is not a wilderness that any of you all are in right now that has the ability to take your life. Some of y'all have believed the lie and the propaganda too long. Hear me what I'm saying to you. There is not a wilderness season that you're in right now that has the ability to kill you. I don't care how dark it looks right now. I don't care how intimidating it feels in this moment. The wilderness was never meant to kill you. The wilderness does not have the power to kill you. But what the wilderness will do is reveal who you are. The reason you need the wilderness is because you need stuff to come up that you would not have addressed unless God took you through a way called testing and pressure. You didn't know you were a complainer until you came under pressure. Y'all, I'm really trying not to make you didn't know you were ungrateful until you came under pressure. You didn't know you were self-centered until pressure hit you. Right? And in scripture, when the children of Israel found themselves in the wilderness, hear me, they're almost, and I want you all to hear me, they're so double-minded because one day they singing and dancing because they have watched their enemies drown in the Red Sea. How many of you all have ever been satisfied when you finally saw God get your lick back for you? No. How many of y'all have ever walked through a moment like, I didn't even have to hit the lick, God got the lick for me, right? You celebrating the back, God got my lick back, God got my lick back. Then the next day, less than 24 hours later, well, God, we ain't got no water. We gonna die. At least in Egypt, we had water that came out of springs to drink. God, there ain't no food here. What we gonna eat? At least in Egypt, we had cucumbers and onions and spam. And what? We ain't got nothing out here. Because what I've learned is the wilderness is your testing place. Egypt wasn't testing. The wilderness is. What testing does is reveals what's really in your heart. Right? And this, I will say this boldly. How many single people in the room? Just raise your hand. How many of y'all single, waiting, believing God that this year Santa gonna deliver something with a little red bow under that tree? It's gonna be about 6'2" or 5'4", you know, you got. Y'all almost made me forget my point. Stay with me. I tell people all the time, this is like a counseling nugget. Don't you commit your future to someone you ain't seen in every season. And I'm not just talking about summer, spring, winter, fall. I need to see how you act when somebody make you mad. I need to see how you respond when you don't get your way. I need to know what your ebbs and flows are. You have wooed me over the first 3 months, but let me see what you like at month 6, right? Let me see what's real. You know, you don't commit to something till you can really see, right? Do you really get a feel for what's in there? Because time and testing will really reveal the temperament of your heart. Right? So what testing does is it becomes a revealer of stuff that needs to come out of you. Some of you all, when you're tested, how many of you all, when you're under pressure, you just black out? You know what? I ain't dealing with nothing. I'm turning my phone, I'm focus mode, do not disturb. I don't want to see a text. I don't want to see a call. I need 72 hours so that my mind can come back to right? You just black out on everybody and everything. You forget you got responsibilities. I know I got children. They're old enough to feed themselves. Everything's going to be all right. I know they're going to be all right too, right? You just black out. Some of us black out, all right? Some of us, in time of testing, we speak prematurely. So we're under the testing of our character, and we begin to pop off quicker than we should, right? It's all, but God, hear me. God will always allow you to see it before he walks you into the promise. How many of y'all got a quick pop-off spirit? Let's just jump. I'm calling it pop-off spirit. How many of y'all will take somebody's head off tomorrow? You know what I mean? Look at me the wrong way. I ain't all the way there yet, right? What God will do. Listen, I got too many Peters in the church. Lay your hands on yourself. I got too many people ready to pull that sword out. Chris, lay hands on yourself. Y'all lay hands on yourself real quick. Just, Lord, help me, right? Because what the wilderness will do is reveal the parts of you God's still trying to work on. And while all of us have things that he's working on, we're constantly, it's the process of sanctification. We're constantly going to be undergoing some type of metamorphosis where God is going to be making us better along the journey, right? He's sanctifying us. He's making us better along the way. But there's some things that God can't trust you with until he's processed out of you what will contaminate it if you go. Here's why, and I'll say this very boldly. I will take slow success any day of the week. Success that took process and time and testing before it was ever put in light. Because anything that is not tested properly and just kind of put out there too soon has the ability to self-destruct. And what I've just declared over y'all, your days and time of self-destructing are over. I'm going to take it a step further. You ain't about to sabotage another day of your life either, right? There's no more self-destruction. There's no more self-sabotage, right? But you're going to allow God to deal with you about everything that's in you. Everybody just shout, he's still working on me. He's still, I ain't there yet. He's still working on me. He is still, today, right now, he's still working on me. All right, so the wilderness, it can't kill you, but it's going to reveal you. Sometimes it feels like you're going to die in it. I mean, y'all have ever went through a season just like, Lord, this feels like death, right? Sometimes it's in your health. Sometimes it's in your emotions. Sometimes it's in your spiritual life. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like this, there's so much pressure. This feels like death, but God's not going to kill you in it. Here's the redefinition for your wilderness. Number 3, don't curse your course. Don't curse the way God chose to take you. Your course is not going to look like anyone else's in this room. And can I be honest? Some of us can get real judgy over where we see someone has arrived, and we have no clue what they had to endure to get to the place that they're in. So for us, it was an overnight success. But for them, it was 10 years of trauma, 5 years of counseling on the other side of that, so that their heart could be healthy and well to walk into what it is God's called them for. I'll even say this. I've been doing this a long time, 20 plus years. And what I've discovered is that some of the people that we would deem to be the most anointed and the most filled with the Spirit of God have went through pressures that we could not even articulate. Like, the oil always has a cost. There are people probably sitting on your row that have been crushed in ways that you would not think, because you look at them and they look like they got it together today. But little do you know, their life has endured crushing and pressure that they wouldn't even have the ability to articulate if you had the time to hear it. What you've got to make up your mind to do is, the way that God takes me, I'm not going to curse it. God could have had them in, and I need y'all to grab this. He could have had them in the promised land in 11 days. If he took them straight from Egypt to the place that he promised, it was less than a 2-week journey. God detoured them for a whole generation, 4 decades, because he did not want any of old to walk into new. So he took them the long way. But you don't curse your course. If this is the way God has chosen, I'm not going to be envious of what looks like success in others, because I didn't see the struggle they came up out of. And just because I didn't see the struggle don't mean the struggle did not happen. How many of you all, if you were to put your story in book, got New York Times bestsellers? Like, just, I mean, y'all know, I mean, if you really made up your mind, let me just put this pen to paper. Y'all got stories for days. It's part of your life lot. Y'all, and I say this all the time. I'm wrapping this message up right here. There is something in my wife that far exceeds anything that I'll ever have the ability to do. Like, she has a very peculiar grace oil, right? It's very potent. And when I say potent, here's what I mean. You can embrace her in a lobby and you can feel what's on her life, right? She can hug you one time and you're like, Lord, what was that? What just jumped off her onto me? Like, it's something very different, right? But she paid a high price for it. She paid a price that most would not be willing to offer up if it were given to them to go that way. So what I've learned to do is to push her oil and not become envious of it. It's not just for her. It's literally everybody I come into contact with. You've been graced for something. My job is to push it out, to make sure you arrive at your best self, to make sure that you see the full potential of what God created you for, what God breathed in you, that thing come out of you. But you'll never get it out if you're cursing the way that he took you. You're always going to end up in remorse and regret because you wanted him to reroute you. When God knew exactly where he needed you to be, how he needed to get you there. And I want y'all to hear me as I say this. He's not going to waste one single part of your journey. Would you just put your hand on your own heart and say, nothing's been wasted? Like, every part of this journey, God's going to use it. He's going to use it. Everything you survived, everything you cried through, everything that made you wonder, does God even see me where I am? He's going to use it all. But you've got to give your wilderness new definition. This is not the place where God's going to kill me. It's the place where he's revealing me. I'm in the wild, but I'm not alone. He led the children of Israel with a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. He made sure they could travel whenever they were ready to go. He made sure they always had leadership for every season of their life. And I want y'all to hear me. The Spirit of God in you is going to make sure that every turn you take, every move you make, you are never alone again. When people abandon you, when people make promises that they don't make good on, when those that you love, that you thought you would have a lifetime, make a decision to to leave, God has made you a promise. I will not leave you, nor will I forsake you. Your wilderness can kill you because the Lord is with you. His rod and his staff is comforting you. He's even preparing a table before you in the presence of your enemy. Right now, he's even anointing your head with new oil. Right now, your cup is about to run over again. He's about to lay you down in the green pasture beside the still water because the Lord is with you. People have left me, causes have left me, jobs have left me, but my one promise and my one guarantee is that the Lord is always going to be with me. He's going to stick closer than a brother. He's going to be a friend when I'm friendless. He's going to be a mother when I'm motherless. When I don't know where to go and I don't know what to do, the Spirit of God that is in me is going to make intercession on my behalf with words that I cannot articulate with my own tongue. Why? Because he is with me. He knows my course. He knows my way. He knows my journey. And he is the Lord who is with me. He's sticking beside me. He's holding my hand. He's lifting me up. He's strengthening me. He's encouraging me. He's making sure that this does not kill me, but it reveals me. The Lord is with me. The Lord is with you. The Lord is with you. I know it's dark, and I know it's scary, and I know you got fears, and I know you got trepidations, but here is your word. God is with you. The Lord is with. The Lord is with. The Lord is with you. The Lord is with you. He's 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 with you. Guarantees I have in life. But there's one thing I can say to you today, 10 toes down, unequivocally, is that the Lord is with you. Even when I feel alone, I'm never alone because he is with me. Even when it looks dark, the road looks dreary, and I don't know which way to turn. My blessed confirmation is that I didn't get here by myself. I've never had to figure out which way to turn because he's always been with me. He even made my mistakes and my fumbles work in my favor. He's always been with me. He used my miscues and my missteps because he's always been with me. The master's always been with me. He's always. Yo, he's too good to stop being with you now. He's too much God to bring you this far and leave you alone to figure it out. I don't want to preach it too soon, but Joshua makes a declaration, Lord, we don't know which way to go. We don't know the way. And unless you're with us, we're always going to be lost. But Lord, if you're with us, you know the way I am to take. So I'm not going to curse this wilderness. I'm in the wild. It's cold. It's rainy. For some of y'all, it's dry. It's been a drought. But your blessed confirmation, God is with you. I will not fear the arrow by day, nor the terror by night. The Lord is with me. So it's redefining your wilderness. Everyone, if you could, just stand to your feet for a moment. look someone eyeball to eyeball really, really quick. Grab their hand while you look at them. Just one person. I need you to look them eyeball to eyeball. And make this quick declaration. You will not die here. You're going to live to tell the story. I don't know who this is for, and I'm really trying to let this thing go, but you're going to live to tell the story. You're going to live to tell the story. This wilderness, it can't do what it thought it was going to do. You're going to live to tell this story. You're going to live to tell it. But you're not going to curse another day the course God chose to take you. He took you the long way. Because he knew when you got to the promise and when you stepped into what it is he was calling you for, he knew you were going to be ready to reach back and grab somebody else to come along to. I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't know who this is for. This ain't got nothing to do with the message right now. God had to get you to the promise healthy so you could reach back and grab those and bring them along with you, because you're not going to be there by yourself. Woo. Some of y'all just had to be the forerunners so a generation coming after you could see that it would be possible, because you made the decision today to walk through the wilderness. God made you the one so that the rest could come through easy. You don't even know it, but there's generational curse-breaking anointing on your walk and on your wilderness. God is using this season. He's using this time. He's using this moment to prepare a generation for what they would not have seen lest you went this way. This wilderness is bigger than me. I'm walking through the wilderness now. And I made declarations that Lele's children ain't gonna have to deal with anything we do. Who am I talking to? I'm walking through wildernesses now, because I've already said Ashriel, London, they won't know what it is to have to go through some of this. I'm gonna be the one, the bridge that gets them over. Curse my wilderness. I don't curse it. I don't curse it. I don't curse it. We won't curse it. God trusted you with it. He's going to use you through it. And he's going to show you on the other side of this how he's going to get his best out of what he's called and created you for. Grab someone's hand really quick. Across the aisle. Just grab hands. You probably don't know it, but you're holding hands with somebody that walked in today on the brink of breakdown. Someone, I'm telling you, someone on the road you're on, someone in the lane and the aisle that you're with, walked in this morning on the verge of breakdown. The enemies had them fooled to think that what they were in was about to drown them out. Can you take 30 seconds and pray for the hands you're holding really quick? Real quick. Just pray for those hands. Pray that long life is coming to them. Pray for divine protection all around them. Hey. Y'all, I feel the waters moving. I'm trying to let this go, but I feel the Spirit of God doing something in this space, in this room. Pastor Darlene, y'all get ready. I'm only calling it out because I sense it in the room. I want to kill it before we get to Thursday. If there's anyone in this room that just over this last month has been battling thoughts or ideas of suicide. I just want you to come to this altar really, really quick. Really, really quick. Really, really quick. Just this last month, 6 weeks. I know what I feel. Just come on. Just come on. Come on. Come on. Anyone else? I know what I feel. Come on. Come on. Anyone else? It don't matter your role or your responsibility in this place. What matters is what God's about to heal you of in this space. Anyone else? Come here. I mean, come to me quick. Come to me quick. Anyone else? Come on. It doesn't matter if you're a mama. It don't matter if you're a father. It don't matter if you're a pastor. It doesn't matter what your role, what a title is. Here's what I'm believing, that in these next couple moments, God's about to do something for you at this altar specifically. That's going to start the work that He's going to forever cement in your heart and life. Real quick, y'all, can y'all just stretch your hands towards these at this altar real quick? And can you come to me, sir? Come to me. Now stretch your hands this way. Father, I thank you that at this altar, men and women have come because they're believing you to break the very idea that their life is not going to be long-lived. Today, I pray in Jesus' name against every thought and idea of premature life ending. And I declare in Jesus' name, Spirit of God, spring up afresh in them. Satisfy them with long life. I declare that there will not be a closet that they're found in. There will not be an empty house that they are discovered in. They are going to live a long life. With long life, you're going to satisfy them. Father, even today as I lay my hands on this, my brother, I pray that the generational idea of suicide, the space, the space where he doesn't see a need for himself and feels like he's more of a burden than a benefit. Spirit of God, breathe fresh in him again today. Woo. Breathe fresh. Breathe fresh in him. Just put your hand on his heart for me, Chris. And Father, I declare for these private thoughts that have just been lodged in his heart to make him think that the best way out was to do it himself. I declare in Jesus' name, healing to this heart. Healing to this heart. Healing to this heart. No more night torments. Yeah. No more torments in your sleep and in your dreams.
Redefine.
Listen, y'all, we're letting it go. I got to get out of here. You can stay there, Jay. But here's what I'm believing. I believe because God is about to give you redefinition for your wilderness. What we're about to see happen corporately is revival in the wilderness. I'm telling you, some stuff is about to come back alive in your heart. There's about to be a revival of joy, a revival of your expression, a revival of peace, a revival of your passion, a revival of your purpose, a revival of your ingenuity, a revival of your, I'm telling you all, there's about to be a revival in the wilderness. And you're about to start a wildfire because you've made up your mind that what God started in you, He's going to complete the work that He started. He's going to complete it. He's going to complete it.